Well, everyone, apparently James Gunn isn't going anywhere. This coming from, well, The Wrap via Bloomberg. But we'll get into that in a second. But look, for weeks now, we've been hearing with all this merger talk that as soon as Paramount comes in or another company comes in or whatever it is, James Gunn is out. James Gunn is gone. There's no chance in hell that anybody's going to keep James Gunn around, because who would, right? Who would keep James Gunn around? I then discussed the other day on my channel and posted a great video explaining why removing James Gunn isn't the best move, isn't the right move. That it would kind of, set the ball in motion that would be more of a catastrophe for DC Studios than doing anything that's, going to help it. People balked at me. People were like, oh, how could you say anything like that? Oh, you're just a fanboy, Slav. Oh, you're just a big fan of James Gunn and nothing else. You don't like DC. How could you root for somebody who's just made flop after flop after? First off, there's no, that's all false narratives that people put out there, but that's besides the fact. Because, like I said, we're hearing reports that that's not the course that at least Paramount, if Paramount came in, that's not the course that they would take. So I'm taking this via The Wrap, which they're taking it from Bloomberg. Paramount Skydance wants to merge their streamer, but keep most of Warner Brothers Discovery intact if an acquisition happens. So we've heard that they've now done 3 bids with Warner Brothers Discovery, like, hey, we want this. Do you want to take it? And they're like, nah, it's not quite enough yet. But they're pushing. David Ellison, one of the richest men in the world, they're really pushing. They're trying. They truly, truly want to get Warner Brothers, it seems like. And if they want it bad enough, hey, they could get it. They could get it. But what am I talking about here? Because just saying that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to get rid of James Gunn, right? Because what does that have to do with anything? Well, according to a new report from Bloomberg, the entertainment company plans to keep much of Warner Brothers Discovery together if merged. Well, again, keeping much of Warner Brothers Discovery doesn't mean everybody, including keeping the creative teams for the 2 studios. The 2 studios being Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, the creative teams. What does that mean exactly? Well, the creative teams would be the creative forces behind the IPs which are brought to life on screen. Creative teams are producers, studio heads, things like that who push to get this content out. We know Mike DeLuca and Pamela Abdy, they're creative heads. They're creative force. They run Warner Brothers Pictures. They're pushing ahead. They just got a new deal. They're obviously going to stay. James Gunn, Peter Safran, guess what? They're part of the creative teams at Warner Brothers Discovery. They are. Whether you like to hear it or not, some of you out there, they are. However, I get it. Some of you are going to sit there and say, well, Slav, couldn't he just be saying that as an overall? Or couldn't Paramount or these sources be saying that as an overall? Because it does say keep much of it together. Very true. Very true. That's where we get into something that's very, very interesting here. Because there was a Mr. John Campea here. Now, John Campea, I know, love him or hate him, you can do whatever you want. I personally have a love-hate relationship with him. I butted heads with his remarks during the Snyder Cut movement. I butt heads with his remarks on things sometimes here and there. I do want to thank Movie Hubbub for pointing this out. I missed this. I haven't had a chance to listen to John Campea for a number of days. So he pointed this out on his channel. And I felt, you know what? Let's take a listen. So here's what he has to say about the situation.
I have people that I know at most of the studios. Doesn't mean I have close relationships with them, but I know most people, and A lot of times when something comes out, I will fire off emails asking for clarification.
See, that's one thing that when it comes to John Campea, he does. Look, he's been in the industry. He's been doing this for 20 years or more. He's been on the red carpets. He's been in the pundit circles doing interviews with studio heads, with actors, with people. So when he sits there and says, I have sources, I have connections, you tend to believe him. You do.
7 times out of 10, they don't respond. 1 time
It's
out
true.
of 10, they'll say, I can't address that. And maybe about 15, 20% of the time, they'll actually give me an answer. I know a couple of people over at Paramount, and to which I wrote, I quoted this article out of Bloomberg. I says that Ellison plans to keeping the creative teams in place. And I specifically and directly asked, does that include DeLuca and Nabdi, and does that include James Gunn and Peter Safran? To which they gave me a simple response. Yes.
Yes. You see, this has been a huge story for a number of weeks. Not so much DeLuca and Abdi. People know they've done a hell of a job this past year. They've been around for quite some time. They're going to be perfectly fine in their roles and their jobs moving forward. But Peter Safran and James Gunn, they have had quite the backlash thrown at them since they've gotten in their position at DC Studios. Now, Peter Safran has quite a record. He is a beloved producer. People really enjoy him. Ever since he became a studio executive, he's been somebody that people like to work with. He's been very heavily involved with the horror franchises at Warner Brothers for quite some time, and he made his jump over to the comic book genre not long ago, and he's had moderate success with them. He's become friends with James Gunn over that time. Now, James Gunn also. He is a filmmaker who's been in the business since the early 2000s in some capacity, from writing all the way up to starting to direct his own films, then hit it big with Marvel, and he's had a lot of success. Along the way, he's made a lot of friends and has made a great reputation within Hollywood where people like working with him. So the fact is, people will want to work with these guys. Plain and simple. They're going to want to work with them. The thing is, when we sit here and take a look at Paramount coming in, if they were to come into Warner Brothers Discovery and take over, as I said the other day, they can come in and they can say, nope, let's get rid of James Gunn, and that leaves them in a predicament. Because then they have to place somebody in charge. That somebody has to come in, and they then have to Frankenstein a new vision, which would be, let's keep these characters and start moving forward with these characters with a new vision, which is very much like what they did with Walter Hamada. Or they have to scrap everything and start anew, yet again, for the third time, have a third universe in less than 10 years. And that is not the right move. That is not the right way to go about doing that, because fans are just not going to want that. Now, I gave my opinion on if they were to fire James Gunn, what the best move would be, but I also stated firing James Gunn is not the right move because keeping him is the move moving forward, even if it's temporary, even if it's just to let him prove himself. Now, people are going to sit there and say, well, he tried to prove himself here already. He already proved himself with Superman and Peacemaker. No, he didn't. First off, he had a successful run with Superman. Let's not forget how piss poor the DCEU was. He has to win the audience back. And to sit there and expect Superman to be $1 billion movie is asinine. Look, I said from the very beginning, and so did so many others, but a lot of you refused to hear this. Superman was the foundation. That movie was the foundation to say, look, this is a new franchise. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Do you see this is a different vision? This is a different way of doing DC. And people enjoyed it. People enjoyed it. Peacemaker didn't chart, Slav. Who cares? How many streaming shows, how many television shows don't chart that go on to have umpteen seasons, win awards? Go look that up. You'll be surprised how many shows don't chart that are successful. You'd be surprised. So to sit there and act like these things that a lot of you point out are negatives, they're really not. He has yet to fully prove himself. Yes, I'll sit here and say Superman was a success. Peacemaker was a lot of fun and a success for what it needed to be. And guess what? We got Lanterns, we got Supergirl, we got Clayface, we got Man of Tomorrow, and probably another one or two that are going to be announced movie-wise before Man of Tomorrow comes out that will get put into production and made, which will probably be Wonder Woman and Batman. And I say after all of that, that's when we'll see what this universe is. And by that time, whatever company's coming in will, at that point in time, be fully there and be able to make their assessment. But Slav, James Gunn's contract is up next year. I'm still banking on him easily getting an extension. He's going to get his extension. But it's easier for people to be naysayers. It's easier for people to be pessimistic. It's more fun for them to be pessimistic because it's what gets them clicks, and it's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. It's unfortunate. And if you ask me, be happy. Be excited. Don't look at the negative all the time. Look at the positive. Let's have fun when it comes to comic book movies again in the fandom. Okay? Let's get excited about DC. It's fun. It's exciting. James Gunn's going to have some fun with it. So let's have fun with it. All right? He's sticking around for a while. So get used to it. But let me know what you guys think. Again, I want to thank Movie Hubbub. Go check out his channel. Great channel. For pointing this out to me. I didn't hear this story. Got home today. Had to make a video about it. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. With all that said, I'll catch you all later.